So we do this thing in contemporary plant spirit path work where we have the books on our bookshelves that are like herbal medicine, right? That address the physical, mental, emotional, aspects of disharmony and talk about how the herbs can bring us back into harmony through their medicinal virtues. And then we have the other books on our bookshelf that talk about herbal magic, right? How herbs can play a part in our rituals and in our spells and charms, and how they can help with these kind of deeper transformative aspects with our life path, right? How we relate to relationships and abundance and love and protection and purification and the changing of the seasons. But more often than not, they are two different books, right? And so you've heard me, go on and on before about how a big part of my work is this reweaving, this kind of removing of the idea that what is medicinal and what is magical are even different, because they're not. Both of those expressions of the plant's blessings are coming out of the same virtue set. They're coming out of the same spirit of that plant, the same way that that plant's personality shows up in their temperament and their areas of influence and what they are interested in as persons, and how their virtue set acts to channel particular bits of wisdom and power and pattern into the world, right? And so I'm really excited about this special online class that I have coming up. We're going to do it on July 17th, 2024, and it's going to be live but online. So you can just, we're going to do it on Zoom. You can come and be with us in person, or if you get tickets, you will get a link to watch the class as much as you want afterwards, which is nice, right? So what we're going to be talking about is how we can use the poetic, energetic language of herbal medicine to explore the magical aspects of the plant. So here's an example. If you know something about mullein, right? Mulleine's a great example because mullein is one of, at least in the West, one of our most cherished and obvious examples of a demulcent plant, right? That mullein, especially when the leaves are introduced into tepid water, they impart mucilage into the water, and that water gets kind of gooey. And we know that demulcent herbs coat the tissues of the body in this mucilaginous material. They coat the throat and they coat the lungs, and some of them get down into the digestion and the bowels and coat the bowels. And so they protect those soft tissues, and they are generally cooling, so they'll flush out patterns of heat and inflammation, and they'll protect the tissue so that tissue has the ability to do some healing. In the case of the lungs, the lungs are always encountering air and particles coming in and out, and so the mucilage sort of acts as a barrier so the lungs can heal. With the bowels, kind of the same thing. And we think, this is how mullein works on the physical body, full stop, right? And then if we open up a book on herbal magic, we're going to say, oh, mullein, does this and does this for the human person, and this is like what they're good for. But the reality is, what we see in the language of the medicinal, the physical expression of the plants, in this case, the demulcent energy of mullein, or maybe mullein's particular affinity with the respiratory system, also implies a great deal about the magical ways in which this plant can show up for us in our magical workings, right? So if all you have is a really fantastic book on herbal actions and herbal energetics, and I hope everybody has, one iteration of that book. I'll give you some really good ones that you can add to your bookshelf in the class. You don't have to rely on some of the really poorly written herbal magic books that just kind of go around, and when you look at them, you realize they're all just in echo chambers, right? It's just one person writing about what somebody else already wrote about, and none of it has the why or the how, and none of it, almost never references where the information comes from. So what I want to give you in this class on July 17th is how you can personally start to explore and experience the magical virtues of plants by looking at how they show up in this very real and immediate physical way for us, right? So you can learn to translate the more reliable materia medica into materia magica yourself. This is also really cool because what if you have a really close relationship with a particular plant, and you can read all about the medicinal virtues. They're in your Materia Medicas. They're in, you got monographs by trusted herbalists, and you know all this great, physical stuff about the plant. But no one's writing about the plant in any of your Materia Magica. You're looking up all your books on herb magic and all the blogs, and no one's talking about the plant. And you think, oh, maybe this plant just doesn't have any magical virtues, right? I can only work with this plant in tea. No, I will show you how, with the wisdom that you have, with the information that is available to you, you can start this sort of heart-centered dialogue with the plant and tease out from the poetry of energetic and action-based language how this plant is going to show up for you beyond your body, right? If the plant is doing demulcency in the body, what does it look like when the plant does demulcency in your life path? What does it look like when demulcency is added to your job or to your school or to your relationship or to how you view and experience money? Or how you're working through healing trauma, right? What does it look like when we take the brakes off, which are fake, by the way? When we take the sort of human imposed brakes off of the plant spirit and say, you know what? There's no reason why your virtues should only affect me from the skin in. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's not how ancestrally we've worked with plants forever, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So what happens if I take those breaks off and I take that wall, that partition that separates the magical and the medicinal, if I just take that away because that's fake too? What happens when the diaphoretic herb has permission to flow through me and to me and around me? What happens when an adaptogenic herb can move through me and into my life path? What does a diuretic herb look like in my life path, right? So hopefully this is exciting to you. If you don't know anything about herbal actions, when I talk about herbs being diuretic, diaphoretic, anodyne, trophorestorative, you're like, I don't know what any of that means. It's fine. You will do just fine in this class. I'm going to have some really clear handouts, digital handouts for you that's going to lay everything out, and we're going to talk about a bunch of these actions. And you are going to, through these conversations, come into a deeper relationship with the plants as a whole. You're going to walk away going, oh, I understand something about how they show up in the world now and how I can work with them directly. And I understand now what it looks like to take the brakes off and let the medicine fill and saturate me here, but also flow out into the part of me that is my life, right? The experiences that I have, the place where we tend to do magic, right? Around us. So, very, very excited. I'm going to put a link down in the video details below so you can grab a spot. Again, if you can join us live, it's going to be so much fun. We'll do a Q&A after. It'll be really cool. If you can't, get a ticket anyway, because later that day, I'm going to send out links for you to watch. You've got 90 days to watch it as much as you want, right? So I'm going to try to be doing more of these live classes because they're just so much fun, and it's cool to see what happens when we all come together and start talking about this stuff and sharing. I've got another really cool one like this coming up in August. So if this is the kind of stuff that flips your switch, I've got some cool stuff in the works for you. So I hope to see you there. Send me a message if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you soon. Take care.